So in this analysis course, how are we going to analyze today? Here is the daily candlestick chart. With a daily candlestick chart like this, now we are going to look at it. Let's see what the current trend is, right? Is the trend going up or down now? And why is it going up? Why is it going down? So should we go long or short now? If we go long, at what price should we enter? And if we go short, at what price should we enter? Why is that, right? And where can we take profit? And why should we take profit there, right? Or where should we cut our losses? Why should we cut our losses there? I will explain all of this to everyone in detail. In the course, in these analysis classes, in the morning, I will analyze BTC for everyone. And at noon or in the afternoon, I will analyze gold, right? So looking at this, how did the daily candle close today? Today, the daily candle closed as a red candle, right? What do we see happen before that? Before that, we saw a double top area, right? It came up here and formed the second top at this spot. Usually with a daily double top pattern, the price can't break through, and we've seen it form a daily candle like this, and today it closed with a red candle. So for us, we assume that it won't be able to break through this double top area, and today it closed with a red daily candle. With this red candle closing, the probability is high that it will rebound a bit, right? So today we expect it to rebound to 6,640 to 6,650. Why does it rebound? Why does it rebound? Let's continue by looking at USDTD. Here, what do we see with USDTD today? We can see that it's still showing a double bottom or even a triple bottom pattern, right? And for this area, we assume that it can't break through. And this morning, USDTD closed with a candlestick. What kind of candlestick was it? A green candlestick with a long wick, right? With a green close like this, we can expect it to retrace to somewhere around the lower half of the candle or right at the body of this candle. So if it retraces to the middle of the candle, that would already meet the condition. What's the purpose of retracing to the middle of the candle? The purpose of retracing to the middle of the candle is it's a trap, a market trap, or what we call a psychological trap. So now, if it wants to keep going up with this candlestick pattern on USDTD, then going up to retest this wick is normal, and even breaking through it is possible, right? So we've already seen the double bottom pattern, the red, then the green candle has appeared, and when the green candle appears and wicks down, it's normal for it to go up, fill that wick, and even go higher. That's it. But before it goes up, it usually sweeps back to the candle body area or this candle area down here, right? What's the purpose of that? It creates a psychological trap. That means if it wants to continue dropping, there will be a slight upward move here, right? Like this bit here. Looking at this, we can see that if it closes the daily candle like this, it will continue to go down, sweep this wick, and drop even lower. That's it. But before it goes down, it will go up to create what's called a psychological trap, okay? It goes up so that FOMO makes us think there's a high chance it will keep rising. But with a candle closing like this, when we look at it, we know it's going to drop, right? It will drop, but before it drops, it will turn around and go up for a bit. Okay, go up for a bit. So how do we know it will continue to drop? That means the trend this morning, we identified it as going down. It's a double bottom. And what else? Has it already wicked or what? It already wicked down here, so it will keep going up, right? If it keeps going up, then Bitcoin has to drop. And before it keeps going up, it will drop down here, see? And here, it will... And here, since it's already formed a double top and wicked down, it will continue to go down. But before it goes down, it will go up. So here we can clearly see that the trend is still down. If it's going down, then we just short, right? Obviously, if we see that it's continuing to drop, then we have to short. But if we short, at which entry should we take it? If we short, where should we enter? It's not when this candle closes. The close of this candle is somewhere around 66,126. We don't enter here. We'll enter a bit higher up. That's the area from the middle of the candle, which is 66,300 to 66,500, right? That's the zone where we'll place an order. All right. So it drops, and our entry is to short in the 66,300 to 66,500 zone. That's the area where we'll place our order. All right. But we always split it into two orders when entering, right? Where do we place the first order? 66,300 to 66,500. What about the second order? It could very well retest this peak, right? So we need to place another order, which is in the 67,000 zone. And we set our stop just above here at 67,500. All right, that's it. So with the candle closing as a red candle, it tends to move down and sweep this wick again. Yes, it tends to sweep this wick again. Since we can see the double top pattern, the trend is that it will continue to go down. And we can see that USDTD has closed with a green candle, and it has closed with a pretty solid green candle here. This is also a double bottom support area, so it's going up further, right? It's completely normal for it to keep going up. It's normal for it to keep rising, and if it keeps rising, then Bitcoin will drop, right? But before it drops, it will retrace a bit, and whether it retraces to the middle of the candle or the whole candle, that's the area where we'll place our first order, right? The first order is from 66.3 to 66.5. As for the second order, in case it doesn't go up immediately, but instead pushes down here to retest this lower wick, what then? That would be our second order, which is at the 67 area. If it tests this area, then BTC will go up to 67, and that's where we'll place our second order. Will it be able to break this spot? From our view, it won't be able to break this spot, right? Why do we have to cut at 675? In case it breaks this spot and drops down to the 8.1 area, then we are forced to cut at 675, right? Because if it breaks this spot, it will drop very deep down here, and then BTC will go up to 68, 69, 70. So we have to cut. But in this case, we can see that the dollar is still moving up, and BTC closed the candle, forming this pin bar. So it tends to retest this wick and then drop even lower. That's why our outlook this morning is still bearish, still bearish. And when it drops, we'll enter a position when it retraces a bit here. When it retraces to around 663 or 665, that's a good spot, right? The second entry will be at 67, right at this peak, and we'll set the stop loss a bit above this peak at 675. That's it. And what will our take profit be? How much should we set our take profit at now? Let's switch to a smaller time frame. If we're talking about take profit, we should look at BTC. We can see on the H4 chart that the structure is still forming higher highs, right? With this kind of higher high structure, we can expect to take profit right here near this previous high area, right? Around 647 to 65. So the area where we expect to take profit, one is right here, this area. If we look here, this is a high, this is a high, and this is a fake breakout zone, right? Let's zoom in. Usually, where do we take profit? That's right. TP1 is where we take profit at this high here. Of course, when we're shorting, we take profit at the support zone, taking profit at the support areas. So this is a high, and this is a fake breakout zone. This is a high, and this is a high. So if we pull it down here, the take profit is at 648 to 65, right? And where is our second take profit? Our second take profit is at the 64 zone, which is this bottom area. Because what structure is it still in? With higher highs and higher lows, our take profit still has to be above this bottom. That means if it breaks this bottom, it will turn into a strong downtrend, no longer an uptrend. At this point, BTC is still in an uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, right? But if we've determined that the trend is still continuing downward, then at which point should we short, right? For shorting, we've already identified the maximum point, and now we'll take profit. Those take profit levels are these peak areas, 648 to 65 for TP1, and TP2 is 64. Here. In the case that it breaks this peak, then the downtrend, the uptrend ends, the downtrend forms, and it will drop deeply down to 63, 62, 61. If it manages to form a structure that signals a return to a downtrend when it breaks this bottom. So according to the reaction method, you draw a line across here. Should you draw this line across when it breaks this area? If it breaks the 64 zone, then it becomes a downtrend, and BTC will drop very deeply to 63, 62, 61, 60 like this. But for now, it's still an uptrend. See, it's still in an uptrend. But as we can see today, we can determine that it's going to go down. So if it drops, the take profit is somewhere around 65, right? We enter at 663 to 665. If it goes down to 65, we make a profit of about 1,300 points. If it goes down to 64, we make 2,300 points, right? So these are the two take profit levels that we will enter. In all of my analysis session, for everyone in this analysis study group, we will learn to analyze like this, right? For BTC, we have to determine whether the daily candle is showing a continued uptrend or a continued downtrend. And if it's going down, at what price should we enter the trade and why, right? I've already explained it to everyone. And if we do enter, where should we take profit and why? That's it. Why do we take profit at 65, at 64.8, at 65, or at 64, right? Because it's still in a structure of higher highs and higher lows. We can't take profit too far because it could come back to this area here. What if it comes back to 64.5, 64, 64.8, or 65 to continue forming a higher high structure? So we can only take profit around this area. So we only take profit between 1,500 and 2,500 in price, right? If it drops and breaks this area, then we can hold for a longer target. But for now, we should only expect to take profit around here, because the structure of highs and lows is still trending upwards, guys. But we have to cut above 675 and then enter another position. When we've identified a downtrend, we have to split it into two orders, split it into two entries. The first order is placed once our analysis holds. Second order is at 67. Why? Because it might retest the 67 area again, meaning it could retest this high here. It might retest this high one more time here, and then after that, it will go down here. So we set our stop loss a bit above this high at 67.5, right? That's how we analyze, find entry points, right? Which price to enter at and where to set the stop loss. At this point, if you enter a trade and set your take profit somewhere below 64, what if it drops to 64.5 and then goes back up, continuing to rise? Because its uptrend structure is still ongoing, right? It's not a downtrend structure yet, okay? So if it's going to pull back, it will only pull back to somewhere down here. Just like this, it goes up, then it drops, then it goes up again, and then it drops back down here. So where does it drop to? It drops to the so-called support zones here. When it goes up, it drops back to this support zone, right? So usually we take profit at the support zone. But why doesn't it drop all the way down here? Because it has an uptrend structure and continuation. Everyone, all right, learn how to analyze everyone. And in the afternoon, I will analyze for everyone according to the script. Okay, goodbye.